You're listening to the Integrative Health Simplified podcast with Kari, Coody, pharmacist turned integrative health practitioner. Here we talk all things straightforward and honest when it comes to holistic health and simplifying your best steps forward while eliminating all the gimmicks and confusion. Leave the overwhelm at the door and get ready for impactful action steps that get to the real root of your issue and actually move the needle in your health. Let's dive into the show. Hey there, and welcome back into Integrative Health Simplified podcast. This is your host, Kari, and I have a special conversation for you today. I have my friend Hannah on, and Hannah is such a sweet friend of mine who started out as a client and now has finished her nutritional therapy practitioner degree. And she is going to be soon working with me. I'm so excited. Later on this fall, she is going to just start taking clients and helping support them, and just so thrilled for that. But this conversation today is one so that you can just get to know her story. We are actually talking about how her story started, how she came to me, in that the conventional system really did not give her a lot of hope when it came to her situation of getting off this medication that she told she would be on for life. And she really had the dream in her heart to start a family, and this was not safe to be on this medication when she did that. And so that was how she came to me. And again, the conventional system did not give her very much hope, but she, in her heart, had hope that she could, in fact, get off of it, and that there had to be a different way. So that is just totally the Lord's leading, in bringing us together. And so I'm eternally grateful for that, and just loved our conversation today about when the conventional system fails you, how do you have hope? So I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's get into our conversation. Oh my goodness. I have my sweet friend Hannah with me today. I'm so excited for our time together, Hannah. And I just know we're going to have the best conversation. I was just telling her, I don't have many notes because we have the best conversations. So that's what we're going to do here today. Hannah, I met her, actually, we've never met in person. We met through the internet, which can be used for good things, right? And this is proof of it. She was actually one of my clients that we kind of, met through a mutual friend and worked together that way, and just have become really good friends and fellow practitioners. And so I'm just excited for her to tell her story. But first, I just wanted her to tell a little bit about herself, just so you guys can get to know her. So Hannah, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Oh, thank you so much for that sweet introduction. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Hannah. I live in Central California, out here with my husband, and our first child that is on the way. We're due end of July. So really excited about that. So I've been an athlete, or have been an athlete, for 17 years. I'm a functional practitioner as well as holistic practitioner. And I'm just so thankful that the Lord brought me here to this space, and I'm excited to talk more about just how much He's done. So
yes. Amen. So I thought it would be great for Hannah to just share a little bit about her story. And as I mentioned, she was one of my clients, and really, tell her story in kind of the before and the after and the process, and sort of the whole gist of this is she really wasn't given much hope to come off of a medication. And so I know that sometimes the conventional system fails us in that way, in telling us that, hey, there's really not much you can do about this. Like, you're going to be on this medication for life. And so how much hope can be, brought in looking at things from a different lens and going about, addressing the root cause. So that's kind of the lens we thought would be best to share her story today. So Hannah, I'll just kind of let you take it away, and I'm sure I'll be jumping in for thoughts along the way.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So, I guess starting from the beginning, I started swimming and competing when I was 4. So I was really, really young, immersed in that competitive culture, from just a very early age. And I, again, swam competitively throughout college. So a total of 17 years. And during that time, I started to have struggle with a gut disorder that I was just really confused about, as well as being in that athletic atmosphere. I also had a lot of just body image obsession, which cultivated disordered eating. And I honestly didn't think anything was wrong. That was the norm. So, yes. And everyone was doing it. So it's like, I really didn't understand. I didn't think anything was wrong, but eventually my gut disorder just progressed so severely that eventually I got on a medication, and that medication led to a lot of other problems, but I was told that is pretty much my only option, and I have to take it essentially for the rest of my life. And I was kind of fine with that. But it wasn't until my husband and I were going to get married, and I had realized that this medication was very dangerous to be taking if you were trying to get pregnant or pregnant. And so I didn't realize that until later on. So I'd been taking this medication for almost a decade. And I was also prescribed an extremely, extremely strict diet. It eliminated like over 60 foods. And so I was pretty much just drinking water and like, honestly, by the grace of God, like, I don't know how I was functioning. And it just became this like snowball of issues because I'm on this medication that's causing a lot of other symptoms. I'm under eating. I'm still expected to perform and train. And then I'm losing a bunch of weight that I really did need. But there was this conflicting like external opinion of, oh, you look so good. You look so great. But truly, like, my body was like hanging on by a thread. So I was hospitalized at one point. And I think just once my husband and I were talking about marriage and really felt like that was the next step for us, I was like, I have to get different help. This is just not working. And I don't understand how this could be my only option, is just continue in this lifestyle. So that's kind of where it all started.
When you were saying that, it does make sense why you didn't really realize anything was wrong, because those around you had that same mentality. And that's, that really does remind us, like, who are we surrounded by? And it really can lead us to normalizing things that just aren't normal. I mean, whether it's, I hear a lot of women talking about their cycles are terrible. And so they're all talking about how their cycles are terrible. And so they think it's normal, and so, I'm thankful that the Lord does bring people into our life or give us, a wake up call to kind of let the scales fall from our eyes and see things for how they really are. So I think we have to give him full credit for that. But the people that we hang around, I think, do really play a part in that. It's just kind of made me think that when you said it, just a reminder.
I could not agree more. It's like, I understand that they can affect, I feel like I always heard, who you surround yourself with, that obviously affects who you become. But I think at a health level, you don't really think about that. And honestly, like, it's so true, because once I was out of college and graduated and started to get into the functional realm and just had, I think, better support, if that makes sense. That's when I really started to notice a difference and realize, wow, like, I've heard it said many times that you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. Yeah. And I felt like that was true for me. Like, I just, it wasn't conducive. So
and it did take a really big lifestyle shift. I mean, and that is usually what it takes, especially if it's that bad, right? I mean, there was just a lot of different scenarios that were kind of to the extreme. And so something like that would take a big life shift. And some people aren't willing to do that, So I just think that's good to note. You kind of did, you did have to really shift in a big way, but you were ready for it, Yeah,
I was, I had felt like I hit rock bottom. So I truly just, and I think given my stubborn personality and, being somewhat prideful during that time. I feel like there was no other way for me. Like I really did have to, hit that rock bottom, but man, just feels so good when you start to experience that healing. And
definitely. So kind of take us to the next step.
Yes. Okay. So, so I'm at rock bottom. I'm on this medication. I'm in this eating disorder that's just literally taking over my life. Still just, again, that like body obsession, and trying to fit into a certain mold as an athlete. It just got to a breaking point. Like I had mentioned, I was hospitalized, just very, very sick. And there was even some indication that like I may have had a silent heart attack too. So it was so severe. And granted, what was so hard during this time, like I said, was just, I was getting a lot of people commenting on my aesthetics. So I was like, this is so confusing. Why am I getting praise, but like, I'm actually really sick.
Yeah.
And so that really had me, I feel like was good for me to experience, because I realized I was going way too much off of the opinion of others for my health. And, thankfully I crossed paths with a registered dietitian who was just totally opened my eyes to the culture of diet culture, and, how much of my identity was wrapped in how I looked, and, honestly, how much bondage I was in, truly. And, so I experienced immense healing, totally went through, just recovery from my eating disorder. But after that time, I had still been struggling with my gut disorder. Like that had not gone away. I had a much better relationship with food, had food freedom, but I still was in a lot of discomfort and pain every single day. And so I still needed that like professional help. And that's when I'm so excited you and I crossed paths. And I was just blown away, like from the beginning of this entirely different approach to looking at health holistically. And it really turned out that I had so much else going on internally, that my gut just happened to be the way my body manifested the symptoms. So, and no one had ever taken that approach before. Like I had seen the specialists, I had had multiple procedures done, and that was never, no other body part was addressed, like my hormones or my liver or anything like that. But it makes so much sense now. Like I can't even see it differently, if that makes sense. Like I can't no longer just isolate my gut, because there was so much else going on. So,
Definitely.
But
I just think about what a journey it was, like from when you hit rock bottom to even like us starting to work together and kind of peel back the layers of the onion, because really that the under eating piece was playing so much of a bigger role than maybe people even realize, or maybe you even realized, and it's like your body literally can't function the way it needs to for all the other things to work properly if we don't give it the fuel it needs. Like that just is so huge. And I know that the dietitian that you worked with a little bit helped with that. And then when we started working together, it's like when people look at what's going on from a different viewpoint, you see things that you hadn't seen before. Because I know when we first started working together, I think you were just really concerned about your gut. And I was like, no, but we got to change what you're eating. You're like, well, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, but it's just because really when you came to me, if somebody else looking in, I'm not saying just me, I'm just saying like, I guess somebody looking in would have thought you were eating really well, like clean and I get that, yes, that's probably better than eating a lot of junk food or something. However, it just wasn't giving your body what it needed. And just that mindset shift. I remember you would ask me like, are you sure that that I can eat all this? I mean, you know, or like, it was just, I get that it is such a mindset shift. But it's just crazy how far we've gotten away from actually nourishing our body. I think that's what I just constantly am amazed at. And it's thank you culture, not right. Like it's just something culturally that is praised. Like, oh, you're on this really strict diet. Good for you for taking charge of your health. And again, I get that there are worse things that we can do. However, I just think that I hope that changes in the future because it really does play such a big role because really your gut was so related to your metabolic function. It was so slow because you just weren't giving your body what it needed. So I think that was a huge piece in your story. Obviously there's detox to be done. Yes. But you just have to get that in line first before you even think about doing any of the other.
Yes. Amen. Yeah. I could not agree more, honestly. Yeah. Honestly, I forgot about that piece, but that was like, so humongous. And
I just remember also you were like, I mean, like I was telling you to eat things that were like good, like, you know, you're like, I can eat this, you know, and this is going to be good for me. You know, it's just, I just think there's so much joy that can be found in food that gets lost and just, I mean, I don't know. That just makes me, I love food. I've always loved food, but I think I went, you know, just like you, I went through times where I just, you know, I cut too many things out and I was a little bit too strict, but just getting back to a really good balance of finding joy in food again.
Yes.
It's just, that's the way God intended it. You know, it doesn't have to be so complicated and so restrictive, and it really shouldn't be.
And not to mention, I know this might sound kind of weird, but I truly feel like you introducing and to just a more pro-metabolic approach and nourishing, healing foods. I mean, honestly, that like improved my marriage because I'm feeling better. And then because I cook, my husband's feeling better and we're both not operating off of in a state of depletion and nutrition deficiency. And so, and it's just so much more
talk
enjoyable.
About hormones and, you know, libido and all those things, like that's not normal to not desire that, you know? And I just think that it's like, we want that. We're like wondering why we don't, but yet just to see the correlation between those two, I don't know. It just makes me so happy. And like, I just want to tell everybody, like,
right.
You can enjoy, you know, food again. You can enjoy being with your husband again. Like we should have joy in all of those things, but yet a lot of times we don't, and we find ourselves snappy and tired and So we could go on. I get it. But I want to get back to your story. So go to the next phase or whatever however you want to share.
Yeah. So, like I said, I started working with Kari, and that was my first introduction to any type of functional testing. And that was just so helpful because I was no longer guessing in the dark in terms of what's going on and why am I feeling this way. She was actually able to point out real markers or real clues as to why, you know, I had been experiencing so much discomfort and pain for so long. And then what really helped was after that, I was able to go, you had put me on a protocol that was very personalized. But I feel like what really helped above even that was just the continuous support I got from you. I mean, I remember reaching out to you in like the middle of the night to give you updates, ask you questions. Is this normal? What should I do in this situation? And you were literally like helping me. It really, a lot of it came down to mindset, I think. Yeah. And so one of the things I just walked away just feeling so grateful still for was just, you really kept me out of the extremes. I think I had been in a state of extreme my entire life, one way or another. And of course that manifested itself through my diet. Yeah. And that was just so detrimental to my healing. Like that was a huge roadblock I had hit because I was doing the supplements, I was doing, the diet, but if like one hiccup came up, it just freaked me out. But I think that was also a testament to, again, like still trying to get enough nutrients and nourishment because I was on edge, about things working out a certain way, especially when I traveled and whatnot. So I just really appreciated that. Even with my medication, that was part of my protocol, was because I had been on it for so many years. You weren't just going to rip me off of it.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
And so the fact that you helped incorporate that, but then weaned me off. And then it was just such a great transition for me, to where spoiler alert, I'm not on it anymore.
Yes.
And that's why my husband and I were able to start trying. And so, I'm so grateful.
That's a good thing to mention about the medication because, I do work with several clients that are on medication, and that, this kind of series that we're in, just talking about conventional versus integrative medicine, I really do feel like at different points in our journey, they both have a place, and somebody might come to me that is very in the conventional mindset and they are on a lot of medications, and just trying to not be in the extremes is so important when it comes to this, because, people are really, a lot of times they do want to come off these medications just like you did. However, it's not safe. Right. And I, of course, encourage you to talk to your physician about it. You were talking to him as well. It's not just me, of course, but I think it's really important to not change everything at one time. Again, that's that extreme mentality. I'm going to stop taking all these and I'm going to start doing all this. That really, I don't like to use extremes, but really that's never a good idea because your body's like, what is going on? It doesn't really make for a very, very conducive environment for good, real lasting change. That's not going to throw your body into this crazy tailspin, So I am so thankful that you were off, that you came off that medication. I mean, just something that you were given zero hope to come off of. And now I guess it was about a year process. I think that's important to mention as well, because some people think in 3 months, in 2 months, I should be off this medication. And, there are different medications, certainly in different circumstances. However, it's going to take time. And so a year might sound like a really long time. However, you kind of have to just, Hannah was in an extreme, right? You heard about how extreme her lifestyle and kind of what she had going on digestively was. So it is going to take longer in those cases. But I think something that's really key is that you are always willing to change your mind and to be open to what I was suggesting, because I think that's key. And that's, excuse me, something I can't always, I can't help, right? I can give you what I think, but if you're not open to receive it and to make changes, then I can't really help the outcome of that. So I think that's really important to mention as well. You were literally like the dream client.
Oh my gosh. You're so sweet. Yeah. But I would definitely affirm that it took a year and it was not linear. Like
yes.
And it still isn't, there's ebbs and flows of progress, but just keeping in mind that like, I'm still moving forward. Like I'm not going back to where I was before. And, and I appreciate you talking about that too, and making that very normal in terms of just a healing journey. Yeah. Like it is not just straight A to B. So there's a lot of just little changes you have to make. But I think that just was such a testament to how supportive you were, because you were right there with me to make those changes that I needed to. And if anything came up, you helped me with that. And so I feel like that just goes to show how important it is to really love your practitioner and trust them.
Yeah.
Because they should want like nothing but the best for you and are willing to help you no matter what. So
yeah, just like I was talking to my friend Bailey, on a recent episode, just talking about trying to find, she's a practitioner, she's a nurse practitioner in the conventional system. And she just stressed the importance of finding the right practitioner or, doctor for you and not kind of giving up on the system, even though, yes, it's broken. There are things that are broken about the integrative health world as well. So you need to, and there's, if you ask 3 holistic practitioners, you're probably going to get the same question. You're probably going to get 3 different responses because again, we come from a different lens, right? We have different personal stories. We have different methods. So I do think that's a great point of try your best to not give up, not, get frustrated when maybe it doesn't work out. That's why I feel like it's so great to look at, how kind of the whole picture of a practitioner, especially if we're talking about like holistic health. And so many people are online now, so many people, like a lot of people find me and others through Instagram. So like follow somebody and ask them questions and see if if you kind of think the same way and if you feel like it will be a good fit. So I can't stress that enough because whenever you do find that right practitioner, you should be able to trust them. You should be able to really breathe a sigh of relief that, hey, they have my best, interest at heart and they're going to be guiding me best. I don't have to have that burden on me anymore because I know so many women are still out there just like trying to do the fix yourself thing. And that there's nothing wrong with that, but it can come with a lot of pressure and that's not good either. So I love that. Well, this has been such a great time together. I just love your story. Every time I hear it, it's been a while. And so just going back through and thinking about that time and just so grateful that you did, think that we would be a good fit. And the Lord knew, right? I mean, talk about a good fit, right? We are excited to begin working together in the fall. After, of course, you guys have your baby and get settled and all that. I just am so thankful for the Lord's favor in bringing us together and just thankful for your healing. And now that, just all the mindset shifts that happen, that now you're going to help others be able to have that same, mentality. And I just think the thing that I was most drawn to is that you were so grounded in the Lord and you just knew that you trusted in him, even when it got frustrating, even when you would message me and be like, what is actually going on? Like, I feel like I'm going backwards, all the things that are very normal in a healing journey like that. And, I just needed to remind you and just needed to refocus on the Lord because, he's the ultimate healer. And I'm so thankful he uses me and, others like you, of course, in people's journey, but ultimately he gets all the glory. So amen. So thankful for you. And I just appreciate your time today and sharing your story and being vulnerable. It's not easy to share that, we got it wrong. Right. But now we're just thankful that, the Lord has guided us to a better place. So thank you so much, Hannah.
Oh, thank you so much, Kari. And if there's one little tidbit of encouragement I would give to anyone that is considering working with a practitioner or just, is new to this world, I know one of the biggest hindrances, for me, I worked with Kari right out of college. So I was not making like loads of money. My husband and I were very much starting off, but honestly, I think reevaluating what we were spending our money on, I just see so often, people spending money already on like a ton of supplements or these expensive workout programs, which if that is like for you, then you do you, but truly like I can't recommend enough investing in your health. And because looking back now, I would do it over again multiple times and it's truly changed my life. So yeah, that's just my encouragement is just think about how you're spending your money on your health. Like, and is that really paying off or contributing to the problem? But yeah, that's just my little tidbit of wisdom.
So true. We could talk about that for a while. So I am going to have Hannah back on. It's definitely she's going to be, here with us ongoing. So if you listen to this and you're like, oh, I would love for you guys to talk about X, Y, and Z thing, send it to me and we would love to hop back on and she's definitely going to be back, but she's getting ready to have her baby girl. So we're going to give her a little time with that, but thank you so much, Hannah. Just so thankful for you. And I appreciate our time together today.
Thank you, Kari.
If this episode has served you in any way, I would love it if you'd share any aha moments or takeaways over on Instagram and tag me at Kari Coody. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so we can continue to learn and grow together.